Here we go. This is Sab in Paris with the Creative Smartphone Photography Show. I'm looking like this today. Hello. Maybe it's the same shirt as last time. I don't know. But this, I love. I love what? What do I love? I love Paris Set Me Free. Yes. If you prefer this banner, you can have this one. Look, Creative Smartphone Photography Show. I've got two, you know. So welcome to the show. Hello, thanks for coming. We're going to look at lots of photographs today, but you knew that, right? We're going to look at today's theme, which is, this week's theme was rain. No, it wasn't actually, but it might have been, and it should have been, I think, because I had a lot of rain opportunities, but not too many path opportunities. And the theme for the last week was paths. So not many cool paths from me this week, but lots of cool paths from you. So what should we do? Should we look in? Should we get some hellos? Could you say hello if you're watching, please? Yes, you. Now, yes, now. I can wait. Say hello. Say who you are, where you're from, and why you love photography, or what you thought of the path theme. Did you enjoy it? Was it easy? Was it hard? Did you not have any paths around? Did you take a photo of something which you knew it wasn't really a path, and you tried to sort of slip it through, you know, like a 3-lane motorway, and here I am on this kind of path in a car? Well, you tell me. I have a comment, and that comment is from Chris. Hello, Chris. Thank you for playing. Right, so I'm going to launch right in. As everybody says hello, I'm going to launch into this, and I've got a hello, Sab, from someone I don't know. Facebook doesn't recognize you, so you need to, you know, you could, if you want, you could go to, I wonder if I've got it here. No, maybe I don't. It's StreamYard. It's Facebook. Oh my God, what is it? It's facebook.com/StreamYard or StreamYard.com/Facebook. Oh, there it is. I think this is where you need to go to be recognized. Then it shows your face. It shows who you are. StreamYard.com/Facebook. And you just say, yes, you can show my name if you feel like it. Otherwise, you have to tell me who you are. And I've got Beatrice. Hi, Bea. Hello. I thought we normally saw you. All right, so let's have a look at some photographs, shall we? And I will also show you my week's production. My week's production, which is here. I'll just let you see that one in the middle. We're talking a rainy week here in Paris. And I will also very quickly mention the fact that my Paris masterclass is now open and running. So about paths, folks. Well, let's have a quick look at some photographs. These are some photographs. I just put these in. I didn't play with them or anything. I literally just dumped them from my phone because I want to kind of prove a point. Okay, you see those photographs? My son has hair, by the way. A lot of movement there by this boy on a path. So without you even realizing, I just slipped in 3 things that would make your path photographs stronger to look at, because there's a problem with paths, you see. Anyway, let's just have a look at a few. So this is from Jean. Someone or something placed these sticks or branches against this old tree. Should I pick? She kind of, Jean likes weaving fantasy scenarios out of her pictures, and good for her. I think she should. Am I to pick one to defend myself as I continue down this path in the dark forest? What awaits me beyond this point? And I suggested that it might be dragons. I haven't heard from her since, so maybe it was dragon. No, she must have. Maybe she posted the photo before going into the woods, before being eaten by dragons. And Chris calls it a doggy stick exchange. I'm not sure if I would want to meet the dog that would offer this trunk here up for exchange, actually, Chris. What else have we got here? And this is me. I'll hover over those. That's not really a path. This is supposed to be. I'm not sure if this is a path because it says some. All right, this is Dorothy being kind of conceptual. Some paths lead to dead ends. This hedgehog took the path to the cheese and got locked in a cage. Second time this week. You're getting to know each other. And it's quite cute, the little story she tells us here. There was no real danger, just a lady with a camera waiting for a nice picture. I don't know. I think I would be quite nervous if Dorothy had trapped me in a cage and was taking photographs of me. But anyway, cute hedgehog photo. Let's enjoy some hedgehog photos. There you go. Yeah, there he looks like he's getting a bit friendly, or he or she. I'm not going to look to find out if it's a boy or a girl. And all right, so this is amazing from Nazanin. I can't believe this is a real path. It's not a real path, is it? Come on. By the way, say hello if you're just watching. If you've just come in, say hello. And if you come up as a Facebook user, please tell me who you are. And we've got Dorothy. Dorothy, we just saw your hedgehog torture machine. Jean, this is ridiculous. This can't be a path. It's too amazing. Unless you've got a place where flowers are so common, you have to walk on them because they're on the paths. That's stunning. I guess it's just for pictures, isn't it? Can't be a real path. It can't be. Flowery path, she says. It says a path. Well, in Holland. That's Nazanin. Sorry, that's Nazanin. Amazing, Nazanin. Tell us the truth. People don't really walk on those, do they? Here's Nazanin as well. Look at this. This is getting inventive. A path going across a river. That's so cool. Where is that? 𝘚𝘢𝗣𝗧𝗣𝗛𝗘. Don't know where that is, Nazanin. You could tell us. Maybe it's in Iran or something exotic like that. And this is me. So this is me, a bit like Dorothy's conceptual path. I reminded myself, or I remembered, that there's actually bees see in either ultra red or luminescent pink or something. And there are actually colors, that markings on petals that insects can see that we can't. And apparently it's like runways, sort of saying, come here to the, what did I call it? Straight to the pea spot, the pollen spot. That is what I was getting at there. So there are paths that we don't even know about, aren't there? Dorothy, I think it was, did a wonderful shot of ants on a path. A couple more from, here's one from Jean. And then in about 2 or 3 minutes, I'll give you my little sort of speech on paths in photographs. So that's one to look forward to, or maybe, you know, go and get a coffee while I'm doing that. A path to a child's magical world. But I see no children today. Maybe the dragons ate them too. Do I dare enter this world and claim that castle as my own? I think Jean lives in a fantasy land, don't you? Anyway, yeah. Okay, path. Okay, yeah, why not? You know, when I thought of paths, I thought of a little windy dirt track in the countryside. That, unfortunately, in my town, there are some wonderful, what you could call paths between the buildings and things. You could call them alleys, but I just didn't have the time or the weather to go and shoot them. And there was also another reason I didn't shoot them, but I'll come back to that in a minute. So here's a kind of a path. Yeah, what is the definition of a path? Is it something that cars can't go along? Maybe that's what it could be. There, Beatrice was in Malta. One of the typical paths taken 10 days ago. And what wonderful old buildings. This reminds me, the only thing I know really, I guess a bit of Greece, but these very tall buildings close together with loads of balconies where you could almost reach out and shake hands with the person on the other side. It reminds me of some of the streets in Barcelona, Las Ramblas, in the Gothic quarter. That's really cool. And I see you have a person here right in the middle there. Interesting, a person. I'm just going to get one more shot, which maybe illustrates another. Okay, so here's from Nazanin. A cat wondering if the higher path is more convenient. A cat having an existential crisis. Should I take the higher path or the path less traveled? That is the question. Or shall I just sit here on this wall? Well, you've got a path going into the distance. You've kind of got two, or a road and a path. And in the foreground, you've got a cat. And this is obviously, you know where I'm going with this. There is a cat to look at on this path. Now, okay, here's one from Kristen. Gorgeous scene. And I am hoping to be in a place like this in 1 week. I'm going on holiday to see my parents in the Lake District in Britain. And it looks a bit like this. So I'm very excited about that. Gorgeous sky. The horizon's a third of the way down. There's this lovely path. going into the distance there. And it's surrounded by grass. And the clouds are nice. Okay, that is the shot. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about path photographs. So I mean, a lot of people posted pictures of paths with nothing else, just a path, which is fine. You know, if you like it, it's a path. So it sort of, you know, filled the remit, pictures of paths. But if you want to have pictures which engage your audience, involve them, and even draw them into the photograph, you have to go an extra mile. You have to go the extra step. And well, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 steps. And I'm just going to go back up to the top, because even though these photographs haven't been played around with or anything, they were just sort of grab shots in a way. You see, there's my son crossing the road, and then here are 2 path shots. You know, you can't deny that's a path, and you can't deny that's a path in my definition. A few shots that I saw only had this sort of thing without the person. And well, maybe you can guess what I'm going to say. You need a point of interest. If the path shot pleases you, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But if you want it to be stronger, you need a point of interest. Because the problem with, if you took my son away, what would you have? You'd have a path winding into the distance, which is a kind of brown color, and it's surrounded by green. And that's it. What would we be looking at? I mean, if you look at this photograph, what did you look at first? The path, the trees, or my son, or the hedge in the distance? Probably my son. That doesn't sort of negate the path. It doesn't make it less cool of a path. But a path is for walking along. So you need someone walking along the path if you want your photograph to have a point of interest. A photograph needs a subject. And in my masterclass, I spend at least a session, maybe even a week on the subject. Your photograph needs a subject. You might say, if you took my son away, if you did a photograph like this, but without the boy, and you said, yep, there you go, it's a path. Well, yes, it's a path, but the subject needs to stand out. Paths are wonderful, but paths are made for walking on. So we expect to see a person on a path. Otherwise, it's a bit of an empty scene. So paths are great. What do? They lead you into the photograph. This is like, I don't know, composition 101, or like the first thing you would ever learn in sort of a photography class. No, not the first thing. But, you know, I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know when I say that a path leads you into a photograph. The lines lead you in. And that's great. But what do they lead you to? If they just lead you to the end of the path and there's nothing there, it's a bit of a disappointment. So if leading lines are fantastic, try and get leading lines everywhere, lines that lead in, but have them lead to something. And on a path, the ideal thing is a person. Also, for a subject to be worth the name of a subject, it has to stand out. So it could be sharp with the rest of the photo fuzzy. It could be big with the rest of anything in the photograph far away. It could be a human and the rest is nature. It could be brightly dressed or a bright color. Okay, he's got this kind of pale blue, pale yellow, and a touch of green on his trainers, his sneakers there. So he's not brightly dressed, but he is a different color to the rest. What about red? What about if you've got a person who is wearing a red top? I'm actually preparing one of my future Paris photo chronicles. It'll all be 9 photographs with a person in red in them. So if you want a strong photograph, this is what you need to look out for. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be a dog. It could be something. It could be an object if it's an interesting enough object. But if there's no object, there's something missing and the photo's a bit flat. So that said, let's see if some of the photographs that we've got here do have that thing. You know, do they? So this is stunning. I would say in this case, it's almost an exception because the path is so amazing because it's like a river of flowers. That's the subject. That's almost a good enough subject. You don't need a person walking along. If you had a person walking along this, you'd probably get annoyed at them because they're ruining the flowers. In this case, it's exceptional because the path is exceptional. But in most cases, see, this is great. There's a path, there's people on it. That's great. It would be nice if there was a kid, wouldn't it? And I understand, because I've lived it many, many times. The ideal photograph is there, and I don't have a subject, and I've just had to go home. I'm not going to take a picture of a path which is empty if it's not a strong enough photograph in its own right. Or I might take it, but I might not publish it. See, there you've got, I think this is Bear's daughter. You know, it's a gorgeous little street. Have someone walking down it. Having said that, you don't want her to sort of block any amazing structures. I might possibly have moved her over to the left slightly and had her here, so you can actually, you see these leading lines. This has leading lines. It's got leading lines the edge of the street, not so much, but there are sort of, the balconies are leading down there. To be honest, I love having a person there, but I've got a feeling, for me, she isn't quite as important as the end of this street. I would like to see the end of this amazing street, but I still want the person. Maybe she's blocking a car. It looks like she might be blocking a car. Having said that, it's a red car. So that's kind of cool. A red car at the end of a lovely old street. But there's something, because she's quite close. If she were further away and she didn't block the end of the street, I think that would be cool. Like if you've got some, imagine she isn't there, imagine the car isn't there, and you've got this gorgeous old street going into the distance. What you would love, what I often do is wait to have a person walking by, and they're a black silhouette normally, get them with several shots, ideally with the legs slightly open so you can see they're walking in at the end of the tunnel. This is perfect. I often do this with some of the cute little streets in Paris. There it is, cute little street, no subject, nothing, just the street. You need a human. So I wait for that human to walk past, and I get a black silhouette at the end of the street with their legs astride like this, so you know they're walking. So I would have moved her off to the left slightly, so you can. It's a street, so you need someone walking down it, and but I would be able to see what's going down at the end there. Having said that, you know, maybe Bear, you decided to you wanted to block the car. You know, I understand that as well. Great. Looks like you've gone for a bit of a dark vignette there on this photograph to sort of draw us into the photograph. Dark vignette. Why am I smiling? Because I think that's a bit of your becoming a bit of a thing, isn't it? That dark vignette for you. It's my daughter. She doesn't like to do the model for me. Yeah, God, I understand. I've got a son who today he was okay. He was okay. Okay. So there's the subject. It's a cat. I might have moved in closer if possible. Maybe it was a stray cat and you couldn't. It would have run off. In that case, at least you've got a cat. Take the shot. You've got the shot. Then move in closer. Cat's still there. Take another shot. Move in closer. Or you might be able to zoom. But if you zoom, you start to lose everything around it. It's basically, if you zoom with the camera, turning the lens or whatever you've got, all you're doing is getting rid of the outer edges. You're not changing the perspective. Whereas the wonderful thing about this is the path going into the distance and even coming towards us. So the thing is to zoom with your legs. You've got, this is the best zoom. It's to zoom with your legs. In other words, you move with the camera. So the cat gets bigger, but you've still got this wide angle effect. I would have tried to get as close to the cat as I could. Keep on shooting, including the first shot in case the cat disappears like 1 second later. You could also crop this. You can crop it. So I would crop probably quite a lot of the bottom there, probably a bit of the right. And I wonder if I can do that. So tell me, folks, how did you find the path theme? If you did it, did you enjoy it? Did you find it? I'm just trying to. There it is. There it is. Just want to sort of crop this somehow. See how I might crop this. The cat's looking to the right, so I'm kind of thinking I'd quite like it to be more over to the left, because it's nice to have. if someone's looking in one direction in a photo, it's kind of nice to have it a bit of space to look into. That's a very tall tree, isn't it? You could either go this way horizontally, which is quite nice. Can you? I don't think you can see what I'm doing, can you? I know you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, never mind. Wonder what I can do here. If I can somehow, just wondering if I can paste in this photograph that I've just done. Okay, never mind. I won't faff around with that. Anyway, yeah, I would crop this slightly, taking a bit of the left off and a bit of the bottom off, having the cat looking towards the right of the photograph. And here's this lovely, beautiful photograph. What would you have here to make it a bit more interesting? Well, someone walking along the path, you know. It could be right here on the in the bottom, quite close to you, and then you could feel that you're with them, with all this lovely big path ahead of them. Or it could be a little figure on the horizon, or, you know, quite towards the end, which would be nice as well. Don't worry, I understand, you know, the phenomenon when you're there and you don't have a subject, of course, but I'm just trying to stress to you how amazingly important that is. And here's Kristen with the subject. You know, obviously she had a subject this time, and there he is, a lovely doggy, in a perfect position. It's definitely a path, and it looks gorgeous. Where are you? Hiking trail with bow. CA, is that California? Beautiful. That sort of illustrates everything I've been saying, and it's also personal because it's your dog, I guess. So down in the bottom right there, beautiful. Looking to the left. I wonder, I'm just thinking if he could be looking to the right, but turning around looking at you. It's like saying, come on, what are you waiting for? Stop taking photographs and let's get on with this walk. Bear is saying, it's a bit difficult not to do boring photos, but I enjoy this theme because I'm not used to taking pictures with people, and it was interesting. Yeah, well, you know, with taking pictures of people, just remind me if I make me bigger and then forget to make me smaller. The thing with having people on paths is really important, you know, really, or something, some living thing. But having said that, should it be someone you know? Should we see their face? Well, and some people, they don't want to be in your photograph. You know, oh God, you say, could you just walk down there? But if they know that you're taking them from behind, so to speak, and their face won't be in the photograph, then what have they got to complain about? You know, you say, I'll catch you up, you know, you go on, and then you get the shot with them walking, and you try to get them in a nice position in the shot, then that's great. It's actually better not to see the face, because as soon as you've got a face, it's a kind of portrait. You know, you're thinking, oh, wonder who that is. Is that her mother, or, you know, whatever. People, if you want a representative of the human race, don't go for Trump, but, you know, like a friend of yours or something, you don't want to see their face. You want to just see them as a human figure. It's a human as opposed to no human. And in that case, you don't want to see the face. So let them walk ahead. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you get them in the right position that you want them. I like the paths theme, but I didn't have time to search for paths. Me neither. Previously, I did find out that path upwards works, downwards not. Oh, that's interesting. A path going upwards. I guess if a path's going upwards, then it's going to go up towards the top of the photograph. If it's going down a hill, it kind of, you might be looking down the hill and the path is going down the hill and you don't see anything at all. So I think I see what you mean there. And how do you find out what works? Well, by getting out there and shooting. Great photos come from taking crappy photos. It's like confidence. You don't get confident at public speaking by reading about public speaking. You do some public speaking, and the next time you do it, you're a little bit more confident and a little bit less scared. And then the next time you do it, even more so. But you can't read a book on being really confident the first time you do it. And it's like that with photography or any creative topic. You don't learn it by reading a book on it. You learn it by doing it and having a look at what you did and seeing what you think. and then the next time you'll have different ideas. So that's why I say there's no such thing as a bad photograph. There's no such thing as you know, I mean, if you like it, you like it. And there's no such thing as failure. If you've taken shots this week, then you've succeeded as a photographer this week, in my eyes. I don't care what the shots are. If you've taken photographs, you've succeeded. If you haven't, well, you haven't taken photographs. Shame. All right, so here's a couple of paths without a human subject. What do you think of these? So you're going to think I'm going to say, oh, it's a shame there isn't a human subject here. Well, no, I'm not going to say that because I've said what I need to say on that. And there are some interesting items. There's a lovely old chair here down in the bottom left. There's a bench there, and it's leading into the distance. Of course, you could have had someone there, but there wasn't. And there's some sort of, I don't know, is it a statue or something at the end? And there's some sort of statue here as well. So it's interesting. It's interesting. You don't need, you know, to have someone necessarily in that case. Look at this. This is the same. You've got some sort of a bust. It looks like a bust of someone without a head. And you've got this gorgeous curling, well, it seems to be curling staircase going up, really leading the eye round in a kind of circle. Leading it around what? Well, leading it around this bust, you see? Everything has a sense. If this bust thing wasn't here, and this sitting on a stone bench, looks like she's been there a while, then it would be a shame. This would be a kind of empty area of green sort of blur. But in fact, there's this bit of, it's human interest. Okay, it's a sculpture, but it still seems to be kind of a human body to me, or most of it. There you go. You've got your human interest. Wunderbar, wunderbar. Any more comments on the paths theme? What was easy about it? What was difficult about it? From Jean. There we are. What does she say about this? She says, this is my last one. I'm sure she did another one after this. Oh, there it is. Okay, paths. This is my last one. And I will admit that this is a shot I took last fall. Just discovered it. Oh, I discovered lots of really nice paths from my Lake District last year, but I didn't post them. I might. This is a path leading to other paths in the Chicago Botanic Garden. Which way to go? Japanese garden or English walled garden? Nice. We have a thing near Paris which has different types of gardens. It has a Japanese garden, which is typical Japanese garden. Beautiful. Including that little red bridge, arched bridge over a little stream. And there's an English garden and a French garden. Guess what the difference is? Answers in the chat. What's the difference, the fundamental difference between a French garden and an English garden? And I'll tell you if you remind me. Again, it would be nice to have like a couple walking hand in hand, wouldn't it? Maybe down to in this corner here, in the bottom left corner, just to fill in that big gap of empty path. It would be great because everything would be, the path would be leading us to them. The trees would be leaning over them, sort of coddling them. Or they could be sitting on this bench. Can you see there's a bench there? What about an old lady or an old man just sitting there reading a book or puffing on a pipe or something? Or a kid running along. So that's a beautiful photograph. And maybe on another day, there would be that. You know, there's nothing to stop you going back and getting it another day. I often do that. I make mental notes. This is amazing, but it would be nice if it was day, not nighttime. Or it would be nice if there were people sitting on that bench. Or it would be nice if it wasn't raining. Or it would be nice if it was raining. You know, I often make mental notes on great future photos because don't accept the first thing. You know, you got an empty path, but the path is beautiful. Well, that's fine. But, you know, if you're into this, make a note of it and go back and get it again when there is what you want. I had this, I don't know if I can find it, but I had a good example of that. Where is it? Where is it? I wonder where it is. I wonder if I can find it. But it was, there were these three signs in a railway station. And there were three screens, and they had a big, thick coloured band around them. One had a big, thick coloured blue band. The other was yellow, and the other was green. Blue, yellow, green. And I thought that's really cool. but it's just, you know, blue, yellow, green. It's kind of what my son was wearing, you see. Blue, yellow, green on his trainers there. It's nice, but there's no color that reaches out and slaps you in the face. Which color does that? This color. So I went back to this railway place and waited. And sure enough, a person in a bright red jacket walked past. So I had blue, yellow, green, kind of pointing towards bright red. That's the thing. That's what lets you get the shot. It's a bit like, you'll see a lot of birds in my photographs. Why? I mean, am I surrounded by birds? Do I have pet birds I just send up when I want to? No. But if you've got a sky, it's so much amazingly better if you've got a bird in it. And, you know, you don't always have birds, but if you wait, sometimes you do. And let me just show you this. This is I showed you this last week, but I just want to show you again to make this point. I had a lot of photographs of this tower here. I'm going to show you a tower, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of photographs of this tower, sans bird, without the bird. You know, cool tower, but check this out. Check this out. This is something. And I waited for the bird. Yeah, I waited a while. You don't have to wait if there's no birds on the horizon. You know, don't waste your life. But the bird was sitting on top of the tower. So, you know, it makes sense to wait a few seconds or minutes, ready to press the button. You're there, you're hovering. I'm just waiting. Because when birds fly off, they have this tendency to be 1 minute they're on the edge. You blink, you open your eyes again. Where'd the bird go? Because as soon as they've gone, they've gone. You know, it's a pretty split-second thing. So you've got to be really ready, but go the extra mile. Why not? Why wouldn't you? If you want a great shot. This is lovely. I love this, Dorothy. Picture one, Dorified. So I think you had a non-Dorified one, and this is Dorified. This is great. It's an ant path. There they go. Ants on their path. The ants are almost always holding the line, and this is the non-Dorified one. And this is Dorified. It's wonderful. From Ronnie. I don't think this is on the paths theme, but we'll have a look at it anyway. It's a lovely trees from Australia. So thanks for sharing that, Ronnie. I love the colors in the bottom, by the way. You say it's a dark night. So you've got some pretty amazing colors for night. I'm not sure how you managed that. Okay, Jean has a path for us. A local path leading to a shore of a pond. That's pretty. You see what I mean by now it's a choice. If you want a nice relaxing photograph, maybe you don't want a subject. You don't want a bright red coat or something. But it's a choice. You might try looking at some famous nature paintings, for example. Like I'm thinking of Monet, you know, Monet's water lilies. I'm just wondering, do they have a subject, or is it just a kind of general feeling that you lose yourself in? Or is one water lily much closer and much bigger and a slightly different color to the others? It's something to look out for. I love the fence leading us along that path. It does make you want to walk along it. And I just can't wait to go to the Lake District soon. Here's one from Christina. So many beautiful paths in the forest near our new house. Ooh, you got a new house, Christina. So I think you live near Glasgow, or you live somewhere in that sort of area in Scotland, I think. And wow, that's a lovely wood. With the bluebells, looks like the bluebells are out, and the bluebells are out near me as well. I'm slightly nervous about wild boar attacking me, and I'm on the lookout for deer as well. We have deer there, ones that haven't been shot, and lovely, yeah. Maybe you can do a repeat of this shot with something happening on the path for the reasons I mentioned. That'd be really nice. Just someone, you know, just someone walking along into the distance. then it allows us to be part of the photograph because we identify with the human. It's kind of empty otherwise. Nice as it is, you know, if you want something like this and you don't want a human or there isn't a human, you've got to do something special. Otherwise, the photograph seems empty. You don't know what to look at. It might be a case of getting close up to a tree and having the tree like really massive, like taking up the whole of the left-hand side, the trunk, so you can see all the detail on the trunk. And there goes the path on the right. Or getting down really low, like this. You see this, the edge of the path here. You could get down so low that if this is the trunk and your camera is here, you could be shooting along the trunk. You could still see the path if you have a wide angle lens, but at least you've got something interesting in the foreground to lead you in. I'm not saying anything else apart from that. I'm just thinking of ideas how to get a great shot from a lovely place, but which doesn't have any sort of a clear subject. Angular. Well, Angular is in Thessaloniki, and it's a bit similar to Beatrice's photos from Malta. Lovely little streets without traffic and pretty enough buildings, I guess. I love the narrow streets of cities after that bustling morning traffic, with open shops and people. After the morning traffic, turn into quiet, lonely paths at night. Yeah, be careful. You know, I love the colors. There's something about the night colors. Today, our cameras and our phones are able to deal with really low light conditions. It's quite impressive. So if you've got street lighting, it's easily enough to get a photograph. Again, it's empty. Could be interesting to have, I don't know, prostitute on the left or something. No, sorry, didn't say that. Little street called 𝗏𝗏𝗏 near my home. Okay, now look at this. This is good because this is a way of getting around the empty streets in Rome. Have something to look through. One of the biggest problems is not having a near and a far in a photograph. Okay, you've got the path leading into the photograph. That's fine. It's a great technique. But sometimes it's still bland if there's no colors that stand out. Or shoot through something. And you've got a near, it's the gate, and a far, it's whatever's at the end of the path. You have this feeling of depth in the photograph. It's also a very interesting gate, and it's half open, and it's got a lovely structure, and you've beatified it beautifully too. So this is great. You see, this is much stronger than if the gate were not there. Love those angles. Great. Love those angles. Lovely angles. What else have we got here? Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I thought, again, I always think this, maybe it's my pessimistic side. I think, oh my God, paths. This is going to be a disaster. I don't have any inspiration. I don't have time to get out and take paths. I wish I did, you know, sort of depressing myself. And then suddenly you guys save it by having loads and loads of great path shots. So this is Jean. Look, this is what you can do as well. Here's Jean. I don't know, doing aerobics on a warm spring day at Skokie. It's one of my favorite all-time town names. Skokie's Emily Oaks Nature Center. Had a small tripod for my iPhone plus a remote. The French have this expression when they want to say that something's as easy as pie. They say finger in the nose. So that's what came to my mind there, you see. Have a tripod, have a remote. You can get one for about 10 or 20 bucks, cheapo one. And there you go, finger in the nose. Doigt dans le nez. I think what they mean is it's as easy as putting your finger in your nose. I don't know, it just sort of grosses me out slightly, but you know, that's the French for you. Hello all, hello. Who are you with your stars? Can you tell me who you are? Can't see your name there. Although if you want to try going to I've lost it again. If you want to try going to StreamYard.com/Facebook and tell them, yes, you can show my name, then I won't have to ask you. 𝘚𝘢𝗣𝗴𝗦𝗠𝗔𝗥𝗧𝗣𝗛𝗢. Sorry, it's Kristen. Kristen, we just looked at your photograph. I hope you didn't miss it. We looked at, hang on, Kristen. Oh, Christina. Kristen, I don't think I didn't see anything by you so far. Where is it? Hello, Kristen. Nice to have you here. So there's Jean jumping up and down, the human interest. I'd have had her maybe a little bit closer because there's a big bunch of boring brown stuff here, which doesn't really do too much for me. I might crop that. No, not the left. The tree is lovely because the tree frames the left of the photograph and then the branches lean over. You see what I mean? This is really a great thing if you have branches going up and they lean over like this, and then the subject is down here. So it's framed on one side by the tree trunk and on the top by the branches leaning over. So that's a great thing to look out for. What is she doing? Maybe she's trying to reach up and, I don't know, destroy nature or grab cherries or something. Or maybe she is doing aerobics. I don't know. This is a mystery I would like to have solved. Jean, let us know what's going on here. Maddie and her shadow. This has to be my favorite all-time dog's shadow pretending to be a ram going in the other direction photo. It's amazing. You've got the path leading in. You've got gorgeous colors. You've got a subject, for crying out loud. Even the dog's lead leads us into the dog as if we needed to be led to the dog. And then there's this amazing shadow effect, which she hasn't like chopped off. Can you imagine if she chopped off the bottom of it? What a shame that would have been. She hasn't. You've got these lovely two green bits at the top. And you've got this amazing shadow, which more than one person thought looked a bit like a sheep or a dog or a ram. Me, I thought it looked like a ram going in the other direction. I think it's fab. Fabaruni. Must be my favorite shot, I think. This is my son. That's an example of putting someone on a path. I had a bunch of these. This was the first one I grabbed as a kind of an example. The only one I was happy with as well. Then you decide, where are you going to put the path? Where are you going to put the person? More to the left, more to the right. I wanted to get the top of this mountain in the top left to kind of balance the person in the bottom right. And it's, it's the biggest mountain around. So I wanted that because that's where he's going. You see, there's a story here. What do paths do? They lead somewhere. Well, what about if you have the beginning of the story, setting off the first steps, and the end of the story is that where we're going? We're going up there. So we've got a long way to go. But there's the story in one photograph. Will we make it? There's our destination, Objective, the top of this mountain. Little skid or little man, as it is, in fact. So, and you can almost imagine the path. It doesn't do this actually, but you can imagine it winding up there, and then going around the back and finally finishing up there. So our path is actually, our sort of physical path is kind of a winding diagonal from the bottom right to the top left, which is cool. Upload that for posterity. Lovely colors, huh? There's actually a cloud. Make that dark bit there is actually a cloud. It's not the ground changes, and then this dark bit here is a chasm. That's you don't want to be walking on the edge there because you'd go down the fast way. From Bear. Bear, you seem to be using a dark vignette effect on this photograph. Interesting. This is great because it's just near her house, I happen to know, and there's this path, and it's a lovely little path. You don't expect to see it in a town, and it's also incredibly boring if it's empty. It's beautiful, but it's boring. There's a human event happening. There's a dad, I think it's a dad, walking his kid home from school. How cute. And the path leads us to that touching human little moment there. So that's wonderful, isn't it? I'm just teasing 𝘚𝘢𝗣 because we realized that she uses the dark vignette effect quite often. And we were wondering, or I was wondering, well, she mentioned it, I think. And I asked her, I said, well, maybe that's your thing. Maybe you found something that you like. Because how do you make your photographs have a signature? How do people know that they're your photographs if they look at them? I mean, I'd love if people looked at my photographs and they loved the amazing artistic style. That'd be cool. I've got a feeling people might think that they're my photographs because they're square, which isn't, not quite so prestigious as having this amazing style. It's square. But, it's square, plus you have this sort of effect, plus you have these sort of colors and this sort of treatment, these sort of angles. So how do you get your photographs to be unique, to eventually one day, have someone say, oh yeah, I can see that's one of your photographs. It's definitely got your style. And then you say, I didn't know I had a style. And they say, oh yeah. No, you do. And then you might ask, well, could you tell me what it is, please? Because I haven't got a clue. And that's how it happens. But that only happens if you take a lot of photographs again and again and again. And then you'll prefer certain techniques to others, certain styles to others. And I was just, I was thinking, well, maybe this is something you really like, this sort of dark vignette. Maybe this is kind of one of your things. And I'm not sure if she was happy with that being a potential thing of hers or not, but she does it quite often. So that's, it's an indication. She seems to like it. What does it do, a dark vignette? Well, it obviously focuses the attention on what's in the bit that isn't dark. For any effect, there's a danger of overdoing it. Now you can decide, there's no rules, you're not going to go to prison if you do too many photographs with a dark vignette. But is that what you want? It might be. It might be that I've decided all my photographs are going to be square. Why? What's the point? It's a bit stupid, actually, because I've lost a lot of possibilities. All formats which are not square are now not available to me. It sounds kind of stupid thing to do, doesn't it? And yet, within restrictions, creativity and your imagination can blossom because you're forced to be more creative than if you didn't have any style at all, or you didn't have any theme at all. It's another reason why I've decided to devote my life to taking photographs of Paris. I do other stuff, but Paris is my thing. Why? I can go to Barcelona, an incredibly beautiful city, and not take photographs. That seems like a bit of a shame. But if you disperse yourself too much, everything kind of goes vanilla flavor. So, I'm not saying that a dark vignette would be right, or it's not for me to say. But finding your thing is actually quite cool, because not only will people start to recognize your photographs, within that restriction, you'll be satisfied because all your photographs have a coherence. They seem to hang together when you see them all together. And also you force yourself to be more creative than if you can just point your camera at anything and take a shot. So that's thoughts that came from that. Here's Angela with a path for walking in my neighborhood, as opposed to a path for scratching your back with. This is probably a good example of possibly needing a bike rider on it about there. Okay, so Angela, please, next time, a bike rider or a runner, a jogger. You see how it leads you so well into the distance, and you've got this row of trees as well leading us. Normally there's more than one thing leading into the distance. Near the path, there's the edge of the fence, there's a row of trees, but please have it lead to something worth looking at. Nazanin, a cobbled path leading to a country house. Leading to a country house. Okay, it's a path leading to what? Something worth looking at? Yes, a country house. So that's cool. I'm not sure if it's cobbled. In my definition of cobbled is kind of paving stones, but rounded stones. Like imagine you're in a horse and cart going over them. You'd be going, but that looks quite smooth. That's really nice. I might chop a bit of the right-hand side of the photo off and a bit of the top. Chris, sometimes the beauty of what's in front of you just grabs you. Ah, yes, that is beautiful. I think you need a boat though. Couldn't you have organized a boat, a red boat, just about here? Couldn't you know? I mean, I've told you, Chris, the extra mile, please. And well, maybe this is the time to talk about horizons with you. I'm just going to get my spirit level. Hang on. Aha! Chris, your world doesn't hang at the same angle as everybody else's. Now, there's a funny thing with horizons, especially the sea. You look at the sea, it's normally, dead flat, like completely horizontal. And we expect it to be. Now, if you want to be artistic and you throw in a few angles, great, go for it. But the thing is, there's a point. If we look at it and it's horizontal, our brain does nothing. It says, yes, it's a horizon, so what? If it's really wonky, we say, wow, they've really decided to do this funky angle effect. Think it works, or I don't like that at all. Doesn't matter. But the thing that is possibly a danger is if it's just off horizontal, because you're probably not doing it to be artistic, because slightly off horizontal, there's nothing very artistic about that. And the danger is people might say, really nice photograph, shame you couldn't hold your camera upright. So that's just something, it's like a little niggly point, but you might want to watch out for that. You could even in the software straighten it. It doesn't do much to the quality. You can normally straighten it out without losing much quality at all. So that's an interesting thing to think about. It's an empty path, an empty sea, an empty sky, but you were there and you got a lovely shot curving to the right. Yeah, beautiful. It is beautiful. And someone says, beautiful clouds. Is that you, Chris, saying that the clouds are beautiful? Just joking. If you're a Facebook user, you could just say that every time your shot comes up, you say, oh, amazing. Oh, I love this one. Dorothy. An old donkey path. Oh, Dorothy and the donkeys. Now we've had the ants. We've had the hedgehog in a trap that she tortures shot. Now we've got the donkey path. I love the treatment, the black and white, because it's an old path. Well, make it look like an old photograph. Beautiful. Look at the tree going over the top, framing and filling in that bit of empty sky. And the path. Okay, you don't have donkeys, but most of them are all dead now anyway. But you could imagine that. You don't need any more subject here, do you? You're not going to have a bright color because it's in black and white, and you can just sort of revel in the sort of, you've got this kind of the path going from the bottom left into the right in the middle. Then you've got the interesting wall filling in that middle bit towards the left, and then you've got the tree framing the wall, and the black and white really does have a nice effect there. And here's Rob. You never know what cross on your daily walks. I'm not sure if this is recent. I've seen this. I remember seeing this a long time ago, but maybe it's the season. And apparently this guy is about the size of a 20-cent coin, which is something like this. That's incredible. What a cool little guy. Yeah, because paths, they don't just have to be this path going into the distance. It could be a great thing to do with paths is what he's done. But okay, he's got in close to a subject on the path, but you can't know what sort of path it is. It's basically, you could forget what it's on. It's a study of this creature. But what about if you back off a bit? No, you get in close to him, but you get even closer and you get even lower down is what I'm trying to say. Really low down, so you can actually see where the path goes. So you could have this little guy really big in the foreground. You're really close to him. You've got a wide angle lens, and boom, behind him goes the road into the distance, maybe even with a horizon and some mountains or something. For that, you have to get down almost, your camera has to get down at least, almost to his eye level. And then you tilt the camera. You might have to do it almost without looking. You don't have to get your head down to where the lens is, but you need to get the lens down really low with a very low subject to include what's behind him. Otherwise, you'll forever be looking down and you'll never have any context. I don't even know how big he is. Rob could have told me that he's like a centimeter across or a meter across. I honestly couldn't tell you. So that's cool. This is angular. How lovely. You've got an interesting thing in the distance. There's a beautiful treatment for a start. It looks like a very sort of mystical treatment to the photo. She's angulified it. And so the path leads somewhere to this interesting old deserted building, an abandoned camp. But she's not satisfied. Well, maybe she was lucky because the sun's behind her and it's low, giving those long shadows. But how wonderful. It's completely changed the story. The shadows are now the subject, but leading to another subject. So maybe they're going on a walk. It looks romantic. They're close together. Very small heads, mind you. Do people have very small heads in Greece? That's almost disturbing. Leading into the distance. Anyway, so that's great. I like that a lot. Shadows, folks. All right, I think we're nearly at the end. You'll be very sad that I haven't had time to talk about my photographs. No, maybe I should talk about them more. Maybe I should do that separately. We've seen this one. That's Dorothy. That's why I'm zooming over that. Path along the River Seine, so appreciated. It used to be road with cars, and our current mayoress is trying to give Paris back to the people, the pedestrians and stuff. Some people like her, some people don't like her, but I think that's a good thing. A path through the blossoming trees. That's nice. And yeah, I think we really. My tomato plants have a predetermined path up the pole there. Oh, I would love to have grown tomatoes this year, but Rob, being very philosophical, the path leads us into the future where we must make decisions on which direction to take. Which direction are you taking, Rob? I think you've almost finished your job, which you love so much, and you'll be able to take any path you like. There you go. You've got a bench. Okay, it's empty, but at least you've got a bench. It's like an interesting subject. What does it say? Be active, be green. Be active, be green. There you go. And I thought there was another shot here. We're coming to the end. It's nearly the end of the show, folks. Oh, we've gone. What's going on? I think I've gone right back to the end. But for some reason, I didn't see this photograph, and here it is. That's weird. Did somebody just comment on it or something? Dorothy said, "Love." No, I don't know why that's popped up, but thank goodness it did. Look at that. Is the truth at the end of this path? And Beatrice has beatified this so much that it looks like she's walking on her way to heaven or something. This is her daughter, I think. And I think it's great as well because you've also got other people. There's a dash of red. They're in the distance. You can't see them. You can see their people. So it's a path that several people are walking along. They think it's worth walking along this path. But there's something magical about it. Almost, dare I say, otherworldly. Because the path has been whited out so much that you can't see what she's walking on. It's like the stairway to heaven or something. Da, 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 da. I love the other people for some reason. Like she's off on the left. There's this strange sort of spacecraft thing or whatever it is. And then there's these people just fill in a lovely space there with a dash of color. It's great. Really like it. I love it. And I think, I'm sorry if I didn't see yours, but I don't know what's going on. But there we are. We need a new theme. I've got this funny idea in my head to give you a theme which is not a theme, like, you know, do anything you like this week or create your own theme. So I'm working on that. The week after, I'm going to the Lake District. So I'm thinking of having a theme linked to nature of some sort. Could be hills or gates or animals, something like this for the week after. But this coming week, I'm kind of thinking, you know, let's have a non-theme. What do you think? Would that be interesting? Dorothy Osland Art. I'm not sure what that comment is. That you? Oh, beautiful clouds. Beautiful clouds. It's Dorothy saying that the clouds are lovely, I think. I'm a bit lost. No, we go. All right, so I'm just going to quickly show you this week's output. Where is it? Yes, it's this. You see, so this is my latest chapter, and you can see that I've tried to have some coherent items. So these two here in the top middle and middle right, they're very similar shots, but with two different types of curiosities. This one is from the old days when Parisians didn't really wash much. They didn't have the places to wash. So this is, I think, from the 1930s. And the bosses, you know, the government or whatever, they decided to install public wash houses. So bain-douche means baths and showers. This is the French motto: liberty, equality, and fraternity. And it was a place where it was a working class area. We're in the 15th arrondissement. And so it was to help people have more than one wash a year. And you can see the symbol of Paris behind the bain-douche. It's a boat. The symbol of Paris is a boat. And here's another shot, which is actually almost identical in structure. But it's a completely different curiosity. This curiosity shows where not only is there an old version and a new version of the street name, but the saint in the old one has been scratched out and put back again. When there was a revolution, the revolutionaries ran around trying to destroy everything linked to religion and royalty. And saint was a good version of that. So I won't go into details. I go into much more detail on my Paris masterclass, which is at parissetmefree.com/master. And that's one of the curiosities of this week. So you can check that out if you like, parissetmefree.com/master. If you're into Paris and you want to become a Paris guru, you can see that there. What else? One or two more of these. I know it's time. This is a rainy day in Paris. Where is it? There it is. Let me get rid of the banner there. Yeah, that was waiting for a tram. You can see the rain pouring down. You want to show rain. It's not always easy. You know, rain sometimes falls fast, so you can't sort of see it in a photograph. If you look through a window, you can see rain, but that's not always a window, especially if you're outside. Have someone with an umbrella. You know, makes sense, doesn't it? You want to show rain, have someone with an umbrella, and if you're lucky, the ground is wet, therefore reflective if it's smooth, and you get some shadows as well. This is another rainy shot, which I'm just about to publish. And this is one of the rare, very rare shots where nothing is in focus. Having something in focus is a great way of having a subject. Normally the subject is in focus, so people know, oh, it must be that. Nothing is in focus. Not the raindrops on the window I'm looking through. Not the thing behind. So it's a mood shot. This is a mood shot. This reminded me of when you're on a train or a bus or something. You've got nothing to do. You're just looking out the window, chugging along, you know, and the landscape is going past. And you go into this kind of secondary state of consciousness in a kind of a daisy daydream. And that your eyes kind of go out of focus. You're thinking about something. This reminded me of that. I'm not focusing on the raindrops, not looking through the window. I'm just sort of in this hinterland of semi-consciousness. That's pretty cool. I used to be in that sort of state quite often, actually, in the past. And a bunch of other stuff, but I don't think I'll go into too much detail here. Just look at a couple here which have a similar look as well. Nice number 12, which I spotted on the edge of a building, and a nice number 5. I think I'll stop at there. I'll stop with that. This is great. You know, wander around. If you've got an older part of town or a more countrified part of town, this is in Paris. But, you know, some of those funny little streets. Look, you've got this 5. You can see it's not a standard Paris 5. It's got a little witch in the top left there. There's some sort of bird or bat or something flying in front of the moon. And it seems to be written by hand. And up there on the top right, you've got a cat, a black cat. So I think it's a witch's house, and it's painted purple. So I'm almost convinced it's a witch's house. How cool is that? So there we are, folks. I'll call it a day. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all your comments, appreciate your efforts. Well done, everyone. I hope you got some useful tips from this. Go out and shoot paths with something on them and see what you can do. Even if you have to set it up, you know, you're going for a walk with someone, you know there's a nice path, get them to wear that red jacket they never wear. They can be your red blob to draw people along the path. You're not doing the path a disservice by having a subject on the path. You're using the path for the powerful compositional element it should be, but the path isn't normally the subject. You need the path leads you to the subject. Have I said that 10 times already? I don't know. So there you go. That's me. That's my show. I have nothing more to say other than remember my masterclass if you want to check it out. And the theme, don't know. I'm gonna go for some sort of open theme this week. All right. Either you invent your own theme or you don't, but you try to post a few photographs. It might be best if they are on a topic, you know, that you've chosen. I'd like to see you being creative without a theme, in fact, or you create your own theme. So it could be choose your own theme, label the theme, and try to aim for at least 3 photographs on that theme. So over the course of the week, state your theme and post photographs with the name of your theme at the top. You know, Dorothy's theme, cats, or, you know, Chris's theme, wheels, whatever it's going to be. So this could be up to you. And I would like to see what you can do, putting together a small collection of photos that seem to hang together some way on the theme that you've chosen. All right, that's it. I will now go and do Sunday evening type things. I hope you have a nice Sunday, the rest of the Sunday. If some of you folks in the States still have lots of hours left, and I will see you again probably this time next week. Probably. I will be in the Lake District this time next week in the north of England, beautiful area, visiting my parents. So I will see you again very soon. Bye for now, and happy